everybody, you'll notice that we're going to get this videoed, and the reason is I'm going to record this, download it, so you've actually got this as a process that you can remind yourself of if you need to. So, in the workshop schedule that we've got here in the white paper, and I'm now at page 27, 28, 29 of the white paper. I draw your attention to some instructions on page 29, Exhibit 7.3. What we have done prior to this gathering of people is ask each team who's got anything to do with month end to fill out their stickers. If you look down, I've already given you some suggested colours. Now, people do accuse me of being very prescriptive. I'm not saying the colour should be the match, but I'm just trying to save a bit of time. And I've given you this instruction, by the way, electronically. Yeah? So, because that's what you need. I have not given you the whole paper electronically, because that's my intellectual property where I make a living. Not that you'd want to take my living away from me, but somebody else might. So, here we've got, let's assume that AP. Now, AP met during the week over a series of morning coffees and wrote out a procedure for each sticker. And I've even given AP an example of what to do. I want them to write in big, thick felt tip pen with the day plus, minus, which working day it is. I've already set the rules that +1 means first working day. -1 means last working day, and we go either side. Does that make sense, everybody? Now, you would be working with a whiteboard, so you wouldn't need to have you would have written this up already. So you've got a nice big whiteboard. Now, some of you here would need 2 whiteboards, wouldn't you? Because your days are going on right the way through here. Yeah. So put them there, set yourself up so you've got enough space. And in the workshop, which we'll see if we go back to page 27, we have a session called Setting the Scene, where we talk about some of the new changes that I've mentioned already. And you can play, if you want, my webcast on bettermanagement.com. So you could actually, if quality is good enough for you, play it and people can see slides and hear my voice, that saves your voice. Now, we then call on people to have one representative from each team to bring their stickers up, and very quickly, in a matter of say 5 minutes or so, you will have a Picasso picture on your wall. And each one of these will have writing on it, correct? And then I ask, because I'm going to ask you all now to get up from your seats, and could we all be a horseshoe around this board, please? Can we all do this? And I would, if I'm running this workshop, if there was a table here, I would pull that away and get that right away, if we could just carry on that. Yeah, that's great. So now, please come round. So we've got 2 layers, just like fill in round here. So I want everybody to be able to read the stickers that are filled out. So can we all read this? What does this say? Right, so if you can't read it, you're not close enough. And when I'm, or you don't like my writing. Now, the point of this is, when you're running this, don't allow any characters to sit back and put their feet up. Because if they're not part of this workshop now, are they? Everybody has to see this, because you're going to watch this magic now. This is called post-it re-engineering. So, every one of these is filled, so I'm asking you to imagine. Some of you will have more than 100 steps up here. Others will have 60 to 80, okay? The first thing you do is you ask everybody, have we got every step up here? And some bright spark says, well, we've got 2 accounts payable cut-offs. We've got an AP cut-off here, and management team, in their wisdom, the purple, which I haven't got, but imagine it's here, they've got AP cut-off here as well, correct? Hopefully it's the same day. So we've just duplicated the same procedure. So we take this one off. Is that right? Put that there. We don't need that. In fact, I wouldn't even do that. I would probably, tear it up. But I'm going to recycle that sticker. Now, we say, is there anything missing? And some bright spark might say, well, actually, what about this step? I do a report and it's not here. So that's great. Oh, quickly, we write it up and put it on there. So we now say into the room, do we all agree month end is represented here? And there's a nod. If there's no nods, no. I'll say, do we all agree? And we get everybody shaking hands. Now, there's a bit of magic just happened, because this is the first time in the history of your company where every team, or a representative from every team, who interfaces with finance, and all of finance, not one person missing here, are in the same room talking about month end. Is that not correct, everybody? So we've already had a miracle. Okay? The second miracle now is, but we can actually see and understand it. There's no data flow diagram here, is there? This is what happens on this day, this is what happens on this day, and this is what happens on this day. We don't need to know that that has to go before that. That's quite irrelevant, because the people here do their job. They've been doing it for years and they know the flows. Does that make sense? Now we say, what steps here can we totally remove from month end? We should never have been doing them. And there's this stone cold silence. Because why would we be doing a process that we've never needed? Now this is where you have to work hard. And out of my top pocket, I'll bring some cinema vouchers. And I'll say, here are some cinema vouchers. 2, so you can take your partner to the cinema, for any person who can find a procedure that we shouldn't be doing. Now this stimulates a bit of activity. Pat says, I do this report for Sam, and when I'm ill, this report's not done, and Sam doesn't seem to bat an eyelid. Sam's over here saying, Pat, I knew that you copied me in on this report, and I've always wondered why you did. I've never needed it, but I just thought you were copying me in. Sam said, Pat, no, I don't send it to anybody else. I spend half a day each month end. That's a round of golf. Doing this report, and you're telling me you never told me this. I've done this for 10 years. Pat says, well, it wasn't very clear, I'm very sorry. You rescue the situation, you give 2 vouchers, and you say to Sam, you don't need, before we get rid of this totally, does anybody want Sam's report that Sam used to do for Pat on what X, Y, Z? There's a stone cold silence. Sam, thank you for picking that up. Here are 2 cinema vouchers. Now there's a feeding frenzy at the board. One bright spark says, why don't we get rid of accounts payable cut-off? And you go, no, we need that. But I tell you what, this procedure, we're on this wall here, we have all the procedures that we're now getting rid of. It was Sam's report to Pat, whatever it was, X, Y, Z, and that was, say, a +4. Now that's gone on this wall here. This is a wall of all procedures. And I can tell you what, you will find over here very quickly, one person's been listening to my broadcast and says, why are we doing supplier statements? Because I've said categorically in my presentation that modern companies do not reconcile supplier statements. You are right. If you're clever, you simply say to the supplier, by the way, you have now read-only access to your part in our AP system. If you find anything that's missing and it's older than a week, tell us about it. Otherwise, don't waste our time with statements. We are not wasting our time reconciling to your system.
How do you pick up invoices posted to the wrong account? Other than the fact that the one you haven't paid.
Yeah, exactly. You trust the system in the sense that if you've got a problem, it's a breakdown in the system, the supplier will be ringing you up saying, why haven't you paid this? You pick it up. But really, the idea is if you have decent systems in place and you have a purchase order system that's working and so forth, you won't find that they're big ones that you've got a problem with. If you weigh up